Good afternoon. European leaders stood united today in the face of threats from President Trump over Greenland, insisting Europe will not be blackmailed. The 8 NATO countries, including the UK, threatened with tariffs by the US president, issued a joint statement warning the plan risks a dangerous downward spiral. Trump says he'll impose a 10% tariff on any and all goods from the beginning of February, increasing to 25% from June unless a deal is reached for the USA to buy Greenland from Denmark. Our political correspondent Shihab Khan reports.
For decades, British foreign policy has been anchored to the so-called special relationship with the United States. But that relationship has been thrown into question after Donald Trump said he will impose tariffs on the UK over its opposition to his wish to have full control of Greenland. Government ministers today were unequivocal, warning the move would be damaging.
The future of Greenland is a matter for the people of Greenland and the people of the Kingdom of Denmark alone, and nobody else. So we think putting tariffs on allies is completely the wrong approach at this moment, and we'll be talking to the American administration about that in the coming days.
In Greenland, which is part of Denmark, there have been protests this weekend, but President Trump is undeterred. He has said there will be a 10% tariff on a number of European countries that have opposed his plans. The nations who are impacted have issued a joint statement today. They say we stand in full solidarity with the Kingdom of Denmark and the people of Greenland. Tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. We will continue to stand united and coordinated in our response. We are committed to upholding our sovereignty. They're standing firm, but tariffs could rise to 25% in June if the US president doesn't get what he wants. That has drawn criticism from across the British political spectrum.
Yeah, we think it's totally wrong that he'd do that. It's massive intimidation. This is an ally of ours, an ally of the US's. It's part of NATO, a hugely important alliance in terms of world peace.
The Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey has urged the Prime Minister to stand up to President Trump, describing him as a bully. While Nigel Farage of Reform UK said tariffs would harm the British economy, and business leaders agree.
There are 40,000 companies in the UK who trade directly in goods with the US each year. For some companies, there will be direct costs which have to be met from new tariffs. But even in the other case, where it's US consumers or businesses picking up the tab, this means lost orders, higher costs and lower margins.
For now, diplomacy will take centre stage as Europe once again seeks to persuade an unpredictable American president to change course.
Shihab, we're a long way from those pictures in your report there of President Trump and Keir Starmer standing side by side. The special relationship really being tested to its extreme now.
Yeah, absolutely. The statement that we've had from European leaders, which includes the United Kingdom, is a signal that they are united in their defiance against Donald Trump and his desires to get full control of Greenland. They are very clear that they stand with Greenland and that they think tariffs are a terrible thing to be doing to an ally. What will happen now is a huge amount of diplomacy. We haven't heard from the Prime Minister yet, but we are expecting him to have engagement with the US administration. Down as you have told us, they will raise this directly with Donald Trump and his team. European leaders will be doing the same because ultimately tariffs are bad, not only for the United States, but also for all of those European countries. It is a lose-lose for everyone. The one thing we do know is that this US president is unpredictable, and European leaders will think they can get him to change his mind.
We certainly know that. Thank you, Shihab. A series of avalanches in Austria have claimed at least 8 lives. Parts of Europe have been hit by heavy snowfall over the last week, and the Salzburg Avalanche Warning Service has issued a level 3 alert signalling considerable danger. Ian Woods has the latest.
Ski conditions may look perfect, but the risk of avalanche is high, and so is the number of victims already this year. 8 fatalities in Austria this weekend, despite advance warnings of dangerous conditions. The bodies of 4 skiers were found south of Salzburg after one incident. A woman also died earlier in the day.
We currently have snowdrifts which form very unstable layers. This means that we really appeal to skiers. Take a look at the terrain. If you have a bad feeling, turn back. The goal is not to reach the summit, but to get home safely.
Rescue helicopters were deployed to the mountains, which are more than 2,000 metres above sea level. Further east in Myrtle, another avalanche killed 3 Czech skiers. The current threat level is 3, but can go as high as 5. This avalanche was artificially triggered by authorities in a Russian resort earlier this week. It demonstrates their power and speed, which every year kill dozens of people in Europe, including 6 last weekend in incidents in the French Alps. Some resorts have taken to deploying drones high over ridges, looking for any signs of cracking or unstable snow, which can lead to dangerous conditions. Ian Woods, ITV News.
A man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a woman was found dead in Norwich last night. The woman in her 40s was declared dead at the scene. A man in his 60s is in police custody. The police believe they were known to each other. And customers of South East Water are facing fresh misery. More than 4,500 homes and businesses in several villages around Maidstone in Kent are facing disruption to supplies because of an electrical fault at a treatment works. The company says the fault has now been fixed, but it comes just days after tens of thousands of the firm's customers were left without water in Kent and Sussex. And finally, in tennis, we didn't have to wait long for the first upset of this year's Australian Open. On the very first morning, Britain's Arthur Ferry, the world number 185, knocked out 20th seed Flavio Cobolli in straight sets. And as Chris Scudder reports, he wasn't the only Brit to advance to round 2.
Backhand down the line. His parents are French and he was born there, but 23-year-old Arthur Ferry grew up near Wimbledon, and even though he's ranked 185 in the world and Britain's number 7, he's making a habit of beating seeds at Grand Slams. Oh yes. Last summer he saw off the 20th seed at Wimbledon. Now here he was knocking out the 20th seed Flavio Cobolli in Melbourne in straight sets. With the biggest win of his young career. The future looks bright for Arthur Ferry. Britain's number 2, Cameron Norrie, had a much closer first-round test against Frenchman Benjamin Bonzi. Norrie was taken all the way, fighting back from 2 sets to 1 down to win in 5. It's more than 4 years now since Emma Raducanu won her US Open title as a teenager. She's not hit the heights since, but for the 5th year in a row she's safely through her first-round match in Australia. Not so the veteran Venus Williams, though. The 45-year-old turned back the clock by winning the first set against Olga Danilovic. But it wasn't to be for the 7 times Grand Slam champion, eventually going out in a deciding set. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
That is all for now, but I am back with the late news at 10 o'clock. Until then, have a lovely evening. Goodbye.